So right now, concerns about a shortage of skilled workers in this country. The head of Ford Motors, Jim Farley, says the labor force is short 600,000 factory workers and 500,000 construction workers, and will need 400,000 auto technicians over the next 3 years. So how does this impact businesses, future jobs, and the economy? Joining us, Managing Director from Morgan Stanley in New Orleans, Jim Spiro. Welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for coming in.
My
so
pleasure.
This is not new. We've been hearing about this for quite some time now, and there's a push by businesses, and I know the federal government is trying to do that, saying, let's put some money to give scholarships and tuition for more trade schools. Is this something you see happening more, with businesses being concerned about this and buying into that maybe trade schools is where we should be putting the money because the jobs pay well?
I do see more of it. You know, for most of my adult life, the discussion was you've got to get a college education. Boys got to go to college. The young girls got to go to college. And to the extent that was feasible and practical, I think most families pursued it. In fact, as you know, many families celebrated when Billy or Susie was the first person in the family to go to college. I think that's, so there's a cultural issue that's at the root of a lot of this. I think that's getting de-emphasized here for a couple of reasons. First of all, just purely numerically, we have an aging domestic workforce, an aging population. I saw a statistic not too long ago where roughly 3 people in the trades are retiring for every one who's entering the trade. So you can see that over time is going to cause a diminution in the overall population working in the trades. Lastly, I think this has all been compounded by the fact that the economic policies the current administration has deployed, some of them I think have been quite beneficial to the economy. The extension of the tax regime from 2017, the efforts to try to clear out excessive regulation. But I think the restrictive immigration policies, particularly for construction and factory workers, and the incoherent manner of the tariffs has really hurt a lot of businesses and hurt employment.
And looking forward, you know, in terms of the coming months, especially with all of the data center for artificial intelligence, and they need those data centers built, how does that impact some of the things for businesses who are trying to tap into that?
Well, we have an enormous facility that's supposed to go under construction here north of here in the northern part of the state, one of the biggest in the country, if not the biggest. The interesting thing about artificial intelligence, a lot of people have been fretting about it and concerned that the workplace is going to change so much they might lose their jobs. I think that's a legitimate concern. It may be to some extent being exaggerated, but the people who are probably most likely at risk, and this makes the case for entering the trades even more compelling, the people who are most likely at risk are perhaps your CPA, your lawyer, or maybe people like me somewhere down the road. I'd love to think I'm irreplaceable, but that's not the case. The people who are entering the trades, I mean, I don't think AI is going to take over the job of your plumber. Right. And I don't think AI is going to take over the job of certain construction workers. So actually, you might have a bit of a tailwind that you haven't had for a long time in the trades. And that's reflected by the fact that the salaries there are particularly good, actually much more so than people coming out of college with a college degree, never mind the loans they've taken out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those trades, it's interesting then people say like 80, 90,000 and 100,000
more
right out of your trade school, and you don't have big loans to pay off.
Welding,
so
plumber, you know, you hear the joke all the time, try to call a plumber. It's difficult to get the person to come. They're booked solid.
Yeah, and
so
6 figures, you know, 100,000 and up.
Well into 6 figures and over time, and they deserve it. They provide a very useful service. But the trades, I think, offer a real opportunity for someone who wants to take a step back and question the normal path.
Interesting to see what happens with that, because the jobs are there. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
Jim, appreciate it. Well, coming up.